Hey everybody, welcome back to Tingen and Williams. My name is James Williams, and we're here to talk about Virginia single-member limited liability companies, or LLCs. So if you're thinking about this, you're probably a business owner or somebody who's thinking about starting a business, and you want to know a little bit more about some of the benefits or consequences of having a business entity like a single-member LLC. Usually we have 2 points that we talk about for a single member LLC that are the primary benefits. We've got liability and taxes. So let's start with liability. As a regular individual, you are personally liable for just about any type of lawsuit or liability that you might find yourself in. If you get involved in a car accident, or if you do something in terms of breaching a contract, usually your name, maybe an insurance company or third-party provider, are going to be involved in that. But ultimately, you're going to have to make any kind of payment or expenses. So where does an LLC come into this? Well, if you're acting in a way that relates to your business, then it's potentially the case that the business itself as an entity may take the brunt of the liability. And within that kind of a space, you have to deal with less personally than you would otherwise have to as an individual. So think about a slip and fall incident. Then think about what types of liability those types of companies have to deal with. Sure, there's going to be a lot of insurance claims and other things that go into it, but at the end of the day, the company itself is going to be sued, not the individual owner, unless if there's something that ties that owner to the individual lawsuit. But that gets into the weeds a little bit more than what we want to talk about here today. So, in terms of your general liability, just keep in mind that having an LLC adds an extra layer of protection, and your personal liability will generally be reduced. So let's talk about our other topic, taxes. Whenever you have an LLC, there are certain business exceptions and deductions and exemptions that might be applicable that allow you to reduce what all is considered taxable income. Now, I'm no tax expert myself, so we always recommend that you speak to a CPA or another tax preparer who can give you a little bit more concrete advice. But keep in mind that whenever you're operating as a sole proprietor or in your own capacity, all of the income that comes from your business is going to run through you personally, similar to that liability thing that we were talking about earlier. So in this context, if you have a separate business entity, you can take all of that income from your revenue and you deduct your expenses like your salaries and your other types of business expenses that ultimately are going to make your income less, which means that your tax burden coming around to tax season will be lower. You always want to try to minimize the amount of taxable income you have. So using an LLC, it splits up your income into a way that makes it a little bit easier to manage those types of situations. So we've talked about liability, we've talked about taxes. If you've got other things that you'd like to talk about in terms of an LLC, we're here to talk with you about those. Feel free to check out our other articles and blog posts, or call to schedule an appointment, and we'd be happy to work with you. Thank you.